got ourselves team 1 and team 2. Trying to get the boys together. What the? Byrons with a big old hat. What is this hat? We got ourselves Byrons as a, I guess, a Gilnean Worgen druid. I like that hat. It looks so massive. I can't tell if it's like the human females just have a big old head or if that hat is just huge. We got ourselves CBZs over in that team as well. As a Destruction Warlock, Shield Pistol, and Death Knight. We got it to Seavark as Arcane Mage. We got it Sensei as a Windwalker and Team 2 missing one. But they got Exy Spam over in that team. Looking kind of like mud, don't you? We got Grix in the back as a Destry. We got Kevin Landers as a Demon Hunter. We got Milord Pella. Hopefully that +1 is loading in slowly but surely. Try to just get it. You guys are probably the worst time to set up a Warlock cookies, by the way, because you guys are gonna get yeeted in just a second or two. Oh, we got Menacle. I guess we got Menacle in here as another Destruction Warlock dropping down the soul well. Who's gonna be first? Who's gonna be last? It's gonna be Seavark. Looks like he's gonna be first up over on team 1. Finally getting a chance to go first before the dampening really ends up putting a dampener into his plan and into his burst. Over on team 2, got us as Milord. Looks like it's gonna be a Paladin. Does a Paladin win against a Mage? I think normally Mage's counter Paladin's pretty hard. It's gonna be a quick destroying onto Milord with a poly. Seavark does end up setting up a big old Mirrors of Torment. Does Milord Palace stay? He does stay next to Seavark. Seavark trying to see if he can poke out, maybe send a barrage or two. Milord getting caught in the pixel for a second. It's gonna be a stun, and Seavark should be able to get himself free casting. Eventually Milord is gonna sound some fan with himself. Touch of the magic, setting up big burst. Milord does go for big defensive silence. Could be in big trouble. Big damage setting up. Does Milord expected? Maybe big setup. Big touch of the magic. Seavark going in for a barrage. Barrage, I think, had the execute bonus. It's a pin. Oh, what is going on? Yo, Seavark just got the biggest burst of the panda racial. Oh my god, what was that burst? Milord Pala even recovered for his full health bar and it just went back down. It's almost like he used touch of the panda to almost like reverse time on Milord. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Seavark said he's got some cheesy going on. And something maybe including the panda, maybe or maybe not including panda racial. I have no idea what he meant by it, but I think we just witnessed it, and now it's all about processing in our minds. Man, let's go for a bit of a reflect. I think Seavark tried to see if he can steal it. It's going to be more missiles getting set up, but let's see if he's going to Door of Shadows. Menko does have a pretty... Do you run the 4-piece now? Seavark, do you run the 4-piece? Is that your just 2-piece normal touch of the magic? Because I think it seems to last a bit long. Seavark getting blasted out by a couple of conflags. He's gonna have to figure something out in order to get his health back up and running. Gonna be an interrupt on the Chaos Bolt versus Mankill. As Mankill does still have Mirrors of Torment on him. Eventually he's gonna sound since it looks like waited out for Mirrors. Is gonna have himself a port. Try to see if he can get a fear versus Seavark. He's gonna have to burn through a shield. It's gonna be a big old Chaos Bolt double bolt with a Blasphemy joined in. Trying to see if he can crack through the tough defenses of the Icebox. Seavark covering health just enough to get himself an invis. Blink it away. Trying to get himself a better setup versus Mankill. At least got a lot of those cooldowns out of the way. No more Infernal. No, does not have to deal with the next double Chaos Bolt. Is going to work down the pet for a second. That pet could go for a big interrupt. Let's see if we're just trying to build up some missiles on a pet. Maybe get interrupted early. Mortical is going to give him some freedom of casting. Menacle better be very, very careful. Going to be Barrage. Seavark blinking away. Just trying to avoid a lot of that damage away from Menacle. Is going to work down the pet for a while. Does the pet die? It should be pretty close to dead. Poly is going to be Reflect. That's actually going to be CC immunity for Seavark since he did have that trinket ready to go ahead of time. Going to be big setup. Menacle could be in trouble. Does he go for a wall here? Seavark trying to go for the most amount of damage. It's going to be all the time. Seavark is trying to keep himself healthy. Going to be cancels back to back, and Seavark is going to go for that all the time. Potential big damage. Menacle, big touch of the Magi, does a lot of damage. Does get him so dark, so it can no longer be stolen. And Seavark is going to work down the pet yet again. Menacle is kind of lowish on health. Has a Mortical coming up in just a few seconds. Seavark got himself massive mobility as well as a big haze buff. So he'll try to work down the pet. Does not have an ice bug for a while. So Seavark is going to be a bit of a trouble trying to get himself missile procs. That's going to be a shield and a quick resummon for a freshly pet. Quick viz by Seavark. Got himself the Mirrors of Torment into Menacle. Is going to be Mortical. Trying to set up a Chaos Bolt. Does he get interrupted? Seavark trying to land aside it. Just try not to get hit by Chaos Bolt at first. Soul Rod is just continuing to let Menacle do whatever damage he can. Interrupted Menacle here. It's going to be eventually a silence. Does have the result trinket, and I think maybe Mirrors of Torment tried to hit him with silence and a root, but I might have immuned it. Gonna be big missiles into Menacle, big setup, potential lots of damage. Touch of the Magi does do a bit, but not the most amount of damage. Seavark still has images. Going to be Rain of Fire. Medical setting up for his own tier set. Eventually, he's going to be able to get a setup where he can go for a Chaos Bolt into a second free Chaos Bolt inside of each other and potentially get a lot of burst damage. Or the Seavark does go for an instant cast bolt that is going to be a stun versus Seavark is going to throw down, I think, a Rain of Fire. Quick invis by the Seavark in order to be able to maybe get himself a bit of a reset, trying to walk away from Medical, maybe sit down and recover some food. Medical kind of hanging around next to Seavark. He could attack him immediately. Seavark trying to get as much recovery as possible, getting a lot of food, getting big eats, going to be yet another invis as another Infernal dropping in. It's going to be a reflect for Medical. Seavark trying to see if he can remove it. It's going to be Mortal Coil, big Casbolt setting up with second Casbolt to follow. Seavark blinks the second one, does get himself a Temporal. So a lot of health recovery here. The pet tried to eat away the Temporal, couldn't quite do it. All the time is up for Seavark. Should be pretty healthy. It's going to be Mirza Torment or Medical. But so right, get it set up. Seavark just try to avoid as best as possible. Does have all the time. Medical almost finishing that full Cataclysm, dropping in another Infernal. That's going to be Blasphemy, trying to go for a stun. That's going to be Seavark's Resolve Trick getting used up. Touching the Magi on Medical as he gets hit with an Interrupt. It's going to be big missiles. Does he just go for a big go? He knows he needs to back up out of there for a second. Just trying to keep himself healthy. Barrage, Shadow Fear around the corner. Seavark is going to be able to get some kind of a CC immunity. Ultra Time he's going to use really early. Does get himself a shield in case things go bad. Does use the Ultra Time to at least get away from Medical. Is going to need to go for a reset at some point. Barrage, blink it away. Does he go maybe for invis and food? Looks like he's trying to keep pressure on the Medical. No pet available for the Warlock. Does he himself feel domination? Next Mortal Coil is going to be really deadly. Seavark, does he have anything for the Mortal Coil? Sitting down for some food. Polymer for the Medical. Does he go for even more food? He needs to recover. He's going to let Medical recover fully, but he needs recovery of his own. 6 minutes into the duel. Does Seavark have another go? That's going to be Medical. Definitely going to get himself almost. Should have just finished the pet cast. He had a Resolve Trick. Mortal Coil into Seavark. Does he go for a quick pet summon? He is going to need to get that interrupt versus Seavark at some point. Missiles flying for free. Soulride getting set up. Seavark no longer is CCable. Has a Resolve Trinket, keeping himself afloat. Trying not to get an interrupt onto Medical unless he's going to lock him out on a pet. Polymorph to follow. Is going to get a Nova. Touch of the Magic. Potentially big damage. Rune of Power getting set up with a Mirza Torment. Could be huge damage with missiles. Blasted. Immune. That's going to be Reflect for Medical. Trying to remove it as fast as possible. Medical not going for a pet summon. That's going to be lots of damage on the Medical. Potentially big touch of the Magic. Does slam, but doesn't do as much damage as I expected it to. Big Arcane missiles flying for Seavark. Continue to get more missiles back to back as Medical does get himself rooted, but not silenced. So it looks like a portion of the Resolve Trinket does keep him at bay. Trying to create a health versus Seavark as he goes in for an Ice Bucket. Is going to summon up a fresh new Fellow Hunter. Resolve Trinket absorbing the Mortal Coil. There's going to be Images joining in for Seavark. And eventually Medical should be able to get enough Soul Shards in order to drop in a freebie Chaos Bolt with a Blasphemy versus Seavark, which could be massive. And I think Seavark actually had all of his images absorb all the damage rather quickly, actually. I think Rain of Fire did the work. Touch of the Magic versus Medical. Try to drop down a Blasphemy. Cannot really do much. It's going to be Reflect versus Medical. More missiles flying in. Medical is going to take a lot of damage, potentially. Big Barrage maybe for Seavark. Try to get a big setup. That's going to be a full Infernal coming in. Interrupt under Medical. I think on Shadow. More missiles to follow. Fear trying to get established, but isn't able to. Dark Pact is up. It's going to be Seavark trying to see if he can pour it out. Big Barrage. Medical is an execute range. Trying to drop in even more Rain of Fire just to keep Seavark in bay here. And looks like Medical is going to have to back out. Seavark is going to go for a bit of recovery. Has Medical low enough? If he can keep him low enough, the Barrage Legendary is going to gain huge value. Mirza Torment on the Fell Hunter. Eventually, the pet is going to get auto-attacked out. And eventually, it's going to proc the Mirza Torment. It looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Seavark is able to farm up some missile procs. Medical wants to get himself a Reflect with a Mortal Coil and used to have himself the perfect setup. Does interrupt Seavark, and Seavark now has to worry not at all about interrupts. Going to be a Fell Hunter resummon, could maybe interrupt it. Panda Racial instead. Touch of the Magic has himself immunity to cast. Okay, missiles going to be Reflect. Try to see if he can spell steal real quick, and more missiles flying in. That's going to be missiles continue to hit Medical. Has himself in the execute range. Going to be even more missiles with a Barrage to follow potentially. Barrage. Touch of the Magic slamming down. That's going to be the Seed Pod. Does he have the pet? Pet could still interrupt him. If Seavark goes for a palm just to get himself instant cast and take him down. The Warlock with extra spam. What is that pathing? Trying to see if he can catch up to a Seavark with a banner. I don't really know if you can do much with this banner. That's going to be big slows on the Seavark with big slows on the extra spam. Taking down Seavark. There's literally nothing you can do at the end. This mage did the very best he could, fighting off a Destruction Warlock and a Paladin. Biggest burst possible that not a lot of people expected. Mortal Coil getting sent in an extra spam. As he got himself the full setup. Big old charge versus CB Zeus. Trying to see if he can take down this Warlock. And does the extra spam have a way to reconnect? He doesn't have a leap. And CBZ attempted to maybe summon up a Succubus instead. Incubus joining in, which is actually going to be a big value. Slows, as well as a Seduction, which Xe spam cannot break. I always thought you could maybe break Seduction with a, what's the word? I always thought you could break it with a Zerkers, but apparently you can't. It's more of a blind rather than an incapacitation effect, which you can Zerkers Rage asunder with the earth around you just shatters under your feet. But like a Succubus Seduction or Incubus Seduction, you can't really do much about it. Reflect, I'm not sure what reflected for the CBZs. Hopefully it wasn't an instant cast Casball. Flesh cut up for CBZs, as he's immune to CC for a moment. Or I guess there's no interrupt available for Xe. Gonna be the quick interrupt. CBZs again with a Succubus Seduction. Casball, does it get a double Casball here? Potentially. There's gonna be a Casball for free for sure. But is there gonna be a second one? Does CBZs have himself set up for a double Casball? Gonna be a board as Xe spam got himself huge damage. Fear on CBZs just dropping an Infernal. And CBZs trinkets out of it, but he still might be in deadly situation. Reflect up, not really sure what he's gonna reflect versus Xe, but it's gonna be Casball with a wall. Xe spam is in big trouble. Oh my goodness! That could have been anyone's game, and you just got a big old Casball with an Incinerate. Xe spam just had nothing at the very end. And Kevin Landis just not going to give him a chance. Just a quick eye beam and taking him out, letting someone else in this game play. My goodness, Xe spam had so much raw damage. Just stopping around here for me. Just boarding all over the place. Oh, that might be a little bit of like a desync then, so hard to tell where he is. Fair enough. Yeah, that was, it seemed like it was a little bit of a... That was a close duel either way though. Was he actual boarding for you? That's unfortunate. That might be like a desync on a Blizzard server end or something. Byron's trying to see he might be able to get himself an opener versus Kevin. I like that Worg in the hat, and he got the Paracel. I like it a lot. Check it out. Byron's really early. Kevin going in for in a prison, trying to control the druid as best as possible, and until he can reach him outside of that root. Stun into Byron's with an eye beam. As Barnes goes in for full incarnation, big damage. Bash is full silence to Kevin. I don't really know if silence is going to really stop Kevin, but a back-to-back starter is doing a bit of work until the immunity with another walk comes in. Kevin does not have a way to self-heal, but Barnes is just going to try to see if he can max out the damage afterwards. Byron goes in for a Belv, trying to see if he can remove any of the debuffs and buffs versus Byron's. I think trying to deal with the Thorns. Going to be an interrupt on the nature. Byron's on a bear form. Going to be a full stun. Is Byron's playing Night Fate? It's got to be a Night Fate, right? Maybe? Cyclone versus Kevin, trying to go for regrowth, going to be a chicken for Kevin. And no interrupt for Demon Hunter for a short few seconds. Is Byron's Night Fairy? I really can't tell. Trying to go for a Cyclone versus Kevin, going to get interrupted. Flush cut maybe? Is that what's going on? Another Cyclone? No! And Kevin just continued to strike him down with a big green lightsabers looking like fell blades. Chilpa's going to be up next as a Frost DK going back into more of his normal regular attire. Now with a tabard of 2400, trying to see if he can crack through right through Kevin. That's going to be a big stun. Trying to see if he can maybe grip him out of that darkness, and it's going to maybe need one more death strike in, one more obliterate. That's going to be down for the count as a flesh kick comes out for the Death Knight. And I mean Demon Hunter, and the Demon Hunter actually didn't ever get a pet. Did he? Gonna be Grizz up next, try and drop in an Infernal. I think it was Chillpill somehow avoiding that Infernal. Maybe Human Racial out of it, or maybe it was stunned from the Demon Hunter. Super DR, gonna be a quick grip to interrupt Grizz as he's trying to get himself a Cataclysm. Cataclysm getting potentially set up on the pet. It's gonna be a Succubus slowed down. And Grizz definitely needs to get himself a good angle, but Chillpills does Cataclysm through a lot of that flesh count as Chillpills looking to build up that shield. Wall out for Grizz, get it back to Miasmas, massive damage, Chillpills could be in trouble, IBF, is it going to be enough? The Grizz just needs to continue pumping out more damage, Mortal running him out of that dome, that's going to be a Casball, almost interrupted, juke that completely, wait a second, going to be short stun, but Chillpills with their Monster Witcher, does he have enough here? Grizz trying to retain himself, needs more damage, it's going to be a blind, Chillpills just doing everything he can, trying to see if he can survive this, it's going to be a big decimated bolt to reflect up. It's a big incinerate, but I think Chillpills ended up getting him. That was anyone's game. And I think Chillpills did get the kill there. Dude, he almost just got globaled. Dude, Destro Warlocks with the damage they do just out of nowhere. What? I don't understand. Yo, Reverence, my man, how you doing?